In this video, we are going to talk about the story of singer Prince, his life story. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for the future updates. Prince, original name Prince Rogers Nelson, later called the artist formerly known as Prince, and the artist, singer, guitarist, songwriter, producer, dancer, and performer on keyboards, drums, and bass, who was among the most talented American musicians of his generation. Like Stevie Wonder, he was a rare composer who could perform at a professional level on virtually all the instruments he required, and a considerable number of his recordings feature him in all the performing roles. Prince's recording career began with funk and soul marketed to a black audience. His early music also reflected the contemporary musical impact of disco. Later records incorporated a vast array of influences, including jazz, punk, heavy metal, the Beatles, and hip-hop, usually with an overall approach most informed by funky up-tempo styles and soulful ballads. The latter often featured his expressive falsetto singing. Taking an early interest in music, Prince began playing the piano at age 7 and had mastered the guitar and drums by the time he joined his first band at age 14. With very few African-American residents, his hometown, Minneapolis, Minnesota, was an unlikely site for the development of a major black star, but Prince even managed to lead other local musicians, most notably Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, to major success. USA 2006-78 Annual Academy Awards. Close-up of a giant Oscar statue at the entrance of the Kodak Theater in Los Angeles, California. Homepage blog 2009, Arts and Entertainment, Film Movie Hollywood. Mirrored by correspondingly intense music, Prince's lyrics often address sexuality and desire with frankness and imagination. Much of his work, in its lyrics and imagery, struggles with the constriction of social conventions and categories. As one of his biographers put it, the whole thrust of Prince's art can be understood in terms of a desire to escape the social identities thrust upon him by the simple virtue of his being small, black, and male. Prince explored typographical oddities in his song titles and lyrics as another way of evading convention. In 1993, he announced that he had changed his name to a combination of the male and female gender signs Prince symbol, music, Prince Rogers Nelson. There is also a strong religious impulse in some of his music, sometimes fused into a kind of sacred erotic experience that has roots in African American churches. Little Red Corvette was Prince's first big crossover hit, gaining airplay on MTV at a time when virtually no black artists appeared on the influential new medium. Purple Rain made him one of the major stars of the 1980s and remains his biggest-selling album. The album, which was the Academy Award-winning soundtrack to a film of the same name, also earned a Grammy Award. 3 of its singles were hits: the frenetic Let's Go Crazy, the androgynous but vulnerable When Doves Cry, and the anthemic title cut. Thereafter, he continued to produce inventive music of broad appeal. Outside the United States, he was particularly popular in Britain and the rest of Europe. Throughout most of his career, Prince's prolific inventiveness as a songwriter clashed with his record company's policy of releasing only a single album each year. As a backlog of his completed but unreleased recordings piled up, he gave songs to other performers, some of whom recorded at and for Paisley Park, the studio and label he established in suburban Minneapolis, and even organized ostensibly independent groups, such as The Time, to record his material. His 1996 album Emancipation celebrated the forthcoming end of his Warner Brothers contract, which enabled him to release as much music as he liked on his NPG label. Later, he explored marketing his work on the internet and through private arrangements with retail chains as a means of circumventing the control of large record companies. In 1999, however, he released Revue into the Joy Fantastic under the Arista label, a collaboration with Sheryl Crow, Chuck D, Ani DeFranco, and others. The album received mixed reviews and failed to find a large audience. Prince, who, following the formal termination of his contract with Warner Brothers in 1999, stopped using the symbol as his name was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2004. That year, he also released Musicology, an album that both sold well and was much praised by critics. Prince's later albums included DELODUSFLOW3R, a triple disc set that included a record by Bria Valenti, a protege. In 2014, he returned to Warner Brothers, releasing Artificial Age and Plectrum Electrum, the latter of which featured backing by the female trio 3RDYEGIRL. They also appeared on Hit and Run, Phase 1 and Phase 2. Prince was found dead at his Paisley Park estate on April 2016. An autopsy later revealed that he had died from an accidental overdose of fentanyl, a powerful opioid. His memoir, The Beautiful Ones, was released in 2019. It included text as well as photographs and original lyrics. Unfortunately, real life is rarely a fairy tale, and that applies even if you're a world-famous, esteemed musician. Prince generally kept the public at an arm's length from his private affairs, and though the world saw an eccentric musical genius, the Purple One's life was often marred with loss, tragedy, pain, and disaster. Today, we'll lift the veil of secrecy covering some of the more unfortunate incidents of the artist's career and personal life. Let's take a look at the tragic real-life story of Prince. It's easy to assume that if anything, Prince was in full control of his body. Anyone who has seen him prance and leap on stage can probably attest that the artist's lithe frame and flamboyant clothing betrayed a very athletic dude who could back up every bit of rhythm in his music. As frequent collaborator David D.V.S. Schwartz told Billboard in 2016, Prince was indeed a pretty good athlete and a downright incredible basketball player, whose speed, technique, and penchant for trash-talking made him a surprisingly dangerous opponent. However, physical formidability was not always the case for Prince. In a 2009 interview with Tavis Smiley, the musician revealed that he was a sickly, epileptic child. "I've never spoken about this before," he said, "but I was born epileptic and I used to have seizures when I was young." The Purple One then went on to say that his parents didn't really have an idea on how to deal with the situation, but everything worked out anyway. "One day I walked into her and said, 'Mom, I'm not going to be sick anymore.'" Prince describes the end of his seizures. When his mother asked how he knew it, he simply said, "Because an angel told me so." What? Did you think Prince's eccentric ways only started as a grown-up? What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and wanted to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.